The Chrysathi war fleet dropped out of hyperspace above Earth at 0347 UTC, and for exactly 6 seconds, nothing happened. Then the sky over the Pacific turned white. In the observation dome of the Galactic Council station orbiting Vesan Prime, 300 light-years away, Ambassador Vos Tholerin of the Ilkari Concord watched the tactical feed with his 4 eyes locked open. Around him, delegates from 41 species rose from their seats. Someone's translator drone crackled with static, unable to process the volume of alarmed chatter. "They're actually doing it," whispered Councillor Wraith, a Dravani elder whose scales had gone pale blue with shock. The humans. "They're actually going to fight." On the main display, the Chrysathi Armada, 800 warships, each one a kilometer of black hull and plasma cannons, began its descent formation over the eastern seaboard. It was, by every metric the Council had on file, a fleet capable of glassing a continent in under an hour. Earth had no fleet. Earth had, by the Council's last survey, 41 operational satellites, a handful of orbital defense platforms still in testing, and a single unfinished shipyard above the moon. "Someone got me a channel to Command Pacifica," said Admiral Voss's aide, but the words died in his throat, because the feed had just shown something the sensors couldn't immediately explain. The lead Chrysathi dreadnought, the Ashen Verdict, had stopped firing. 300 kilometers below, in a bunker beneath the Colorado Rockies, Colonel Marcus Whitfield stood over a holotable with his boots still muddy from the transport ride. He hadn't slept in 31 hours. Neither had anyone else in the room. "Talk to me," he said. Captain Elena Ruiz didn't look up from her console. "They're not opening fire because the Ashen Verdict just lost main power to 40% of its grid. Whatever we sent up there worked. The virus?" "The virus, sir. Dr. Okonkwo's team seeded it into their comm relay 6 hours ago when they hit our listening post in Reykjavik. They didn't just steal data. They picked up a hitchhiker." Marcus allowed himself one breath of something like relief. "One breath only. That buys us minutes, not the war." "It buys us exactly the amount of time General Ashworth asked for," said a new voice. Dr. Naomi Okonkwo stepped into the light. Tablet in hand, dark circles under her eyes deep as bruises. "Sir, the orbital array is ready. It's never been field tested. It's 4 years ahead of schedule, and held together with duct tape and about 600 sleepless engineers. But it's ready. Then light it up." Back on Vesan Prime, the Council watched the impossible happen twice. First, the Chrysathi fleet, arrogant and unhurried, began sweeping their scanners across the eastern seaboard, hunting for population centers to threaten into surrender. Standard Chrysathi doctrine: cripple resistance by terrorizing civilians first, then negotiate a surrender from a position of horror. Second, the sky answered. From the Earth's own moon, not from the surface, not from the fragile little world the Chrysathi expected to bully, a lattice of light unfolded across low orbit. Ambassador Tholerin had seen energy weapons before. He had seen the Dravini ion cannons, the Ilkari graviton lances, the terrifying silent beauty of a Severan disintegration field. He had never seen anything move like this. It didn't look like a weapon. It looked like a net made of stars, and it closed over the Chrysathi formation in 11 seconds. "What?" said Councillor Wraith, very quietly. "Is that?" No one answered, because no one on the Council had a category for it. It wasn't Council-registered technology. It wasn't anything filed, licensed, or reported in the mandatory tech disclosure archives every species was obligated to submit. Humanity had built something entirely their own, in secret, in 4 years, using nothing but desperation and the printed schematics of half-understood alien tech they'd salvaged off a single crashed scout ship 18 months earlier. The Chrysathi flagship's shields buckled, then its neighbors. Then, in a chain reaction, the Council's own analysts would spend 6 months trying to model. The entire front line of the invasion fleet lost power simultaneously. Not destroyed, not vaporized, just stopped, frozen dead in space like insects in amber. On the bridge of the Ashen Verdict, Overlord. Kren Vashal watched his conquest dissolve into silence and felt, for the first time in 300 years of campaigns, something the Chrysathi language didn't have a clean word for. The humans hadn't fired a single offensive shot. They hadn't needed to. They had simply reached up and turned off his fleet. A voice came through on an open channel. Not encrypted, not hidden. Sent wide enough that every ship in the sky and every station listening across 41 worlds could hear it. This is Colonel Marcus Whitfield, United Earth Defense Command. His voice was steady, tired, and utterly without mercy. You came here expecting a world with no fleet, no shield, no answer. You were right about the fleet. You were wrong about everything else. Power down your weapons systems and prepare to be boarded, or we finish what we started. Your call. You've got 60 seconds. 41 seconds later, the Krizathi surrendered. In the observation dome above Visan Prime, Ambassador Tholarin finally exhaled, all 4 eyes still wide. They didn't ask us for help, he said. Not once. Not a single transmission to the Council in 6 hours of active invasion. Councillor Wraith's scales had gone from pale blue back to their natural gold, the Draveni equivalent of catching one's breath. Would you have believed them if they had? Tholarin didn't answer immediately. He was watching the feed replay, the net of light, the frozen fleet, the calm, unshakable voice of one tired human colonel giving an ultimatum to an armada 1,000 times the size of anything Earth had ever built. No, he finally admitted. I don't think any of us would have. Somewhere in the chamber, a junior aide was already updating Earth's threat classification file. The old entry read, Species human. Status, emerging, non-hostile. Militarily negligible. He deleted the last word before typing the new one. Unknown. And for the first time in the history of the Galactic Council, that word made the entire chamber go quiet.